Hello there! Welcome to Live with the Paper Pixie, episode 260. I'm Julie DiMatteo, the Paper Pixie, coming to you live from Alpharetta, Georgia, where it was very frigid this morning, as I suspect many of you have cold temperatures as well. We were 34 degrees this morning at the bus stop, and my kids were the only kids on the bus. I wonder why. I don't think any other parents wanted to brave the bus stop. So welcome tonight. If you're new here, drop new in the chat. And we are going to be creating what I'm calling a bow tie gift box, otherwise known as a candy wrapper gift box as well. So this is what we're going to make tonight. I'm super excited. Inside, I have either 2 bath bombs or, believe it or not, 2 like mini bath bombs or 2 Lindor truffles. So I'm excited to share that with you tonight. I've done a project similar to that back in 2019, but this is a really cute little treat box to give for the holidays. Brian, are you ready for your cameo? My husband Brian is watching your comments tonight. He'll pop in if we need any help tonight, and he'll help me sort of move things along. If you do have a question tonight, be sure to put Q: in the comments, and that will cue your questions for me at the end of the live stream. We will do a Q&A, and I'll answer questions then. That will help me focus on tonight's project so I can give you all the measurements and all the good stuff as well. And guess what, you guys? I already have the project sheet done, so we will share that with you at the end of the live stream so you can run off to your crafty space and create this project yourself. So, how are we doing? Okay. So, if you shop with me, you can earn Pixie Perks on orders of $25 or more. You just need to use my shopping link, thepaperpixie.com/shop. That will auto-magically add my current host code, which is what you'll need to add to earn Pixie Perks. But if your order is $150 or more, don't use the host code. You'll earn Stampin' Rewards, and you will earn Pixie Perks as well. We have a fantastic join promotion happening today, but I want to share with you also the fabulous florets. The fitting florets. Let me bring this into the screen really quickly. Fitting Florets collection of products. This is going to be available November 1st, but you can add it to a starter kit now. We've got a fantastic join promotion going on right now. You can choose up to $155 in product and pay only $99, and it ships for free. I'd love to have you join my team of Paper Pixies. You get to test drive being a demonstrator all the way through April 30th, unless you meet your quarterly minimum, and then you get to continue with the demonstrator perks as well. But here is Fitting Florets. It is a beautiful collection of products. Let me show you a few of them up close. We have the gold adhesive backed swirls. These are really pretty. Let me show you those up in the camera. Love those. We have the Fitting Florets Designer Series paper. This is showing you both front and back, and it's a gorgeous color combination here. I love the polished pink paired with Night of Navy. And then there are 2 stamp sets and actually a bundle. So the Framed Florets bundle, here's the stamp set. Love the font. And here is the Framed Florets dies. Yes, they are named the same. That's what those dies look like. And then we have the Framed and Festive, both the Designer Series paper, the gold adhesive backed swirls, and the Framed and Festive stamp set are going to be only while supplies last. The Framed Florets bundle will continue into the mini catalogs. This is a great thing to add to a starter kit. You can use my link below to join my team, thepaperpixie.com/join. That $155 for only $99 is good through October 31st, so just less than 2 weeks now. Let's see. I have got show and tell from the kids and one of my amazing team members. Let's start with the kids show and tell. This is going to take up the whole screen. There's dog hair everywhere, but this was Nolan's police station that he wanted to show you. This is our first grader. He's 7, he's Lego obsessed, you guys. Obviously, if you've been around for a while, you know that he loves Legos. So this is his multi-story police station. Lily has been way into playing Zelda, so this is a cast of characters before the Great Calamity, if you've played Zelda Breath of the Wild. But she's got the princess, the king, she's got all these descriptions. Princess Hylian being a kid, works at Hotel Oasis. This is fun. So characters from Zelda. She had a lot of fun doing that. So that's Lily's. And I'm going to start with, so this is from my team member Nancy Lee. So she created my A2 card pouch and included a handful of handmade cards from her. So just want to show you what these look like. They are beautiful. Love her work. Some of these products are retired now, but I love them, love them. And look what she did on the centers of the sunflowers. It's cork, that cork paper we used to have. And then there's that beautiful flowering fields, I believe that's from. So that is the card pouch, but wait until you see, she just sent this to me this week. She is a beader. I don't know if that's what it's called, but this is Nancy Lee. Look at this ornament. I can't do this any justice, but she weaved all of these beads. This is absolutely stunning. And it holds this beautiful sort of pendulum here made out of glass. So there's that. And she knows I love purple, but she also knows that I love stars. So look at the beading intricacy on this as well. Absolutely love it. So Nancy Lee, thank you. Happy to give you a shout out tonight. I'm so proud of my team members. This is just a gorgeous thing. Don't we all love getting into all kinds of crafts? She is just a fantastic bead artist. All right. Let's jump into tonight's project. I think that's what's next. Yes. So I'm going to show you the sample here is with Designer Series paper, but we're going to create it with cardstock tonight because I want you to be able to see the score lines. They're a little bit more difficult to see on Designer Series paper, so I don't want that to be a hindrance tonight. So, but I wanted to show you this can be made out of both Designer Series paper or cardstock. I have nothing holding this together. Sort of the physics of those score lines. This is holding itself together like so. Now I'm going to have Brian drop in the chat when you're ready the link to the project from 2019 that I created. I called it a candy wrapper gift box. I want to say that it was inspired by a German demonstrator. It might have been Steffi Helmschrott, but I might be incorrect. It's in the blog post. And that one was just a little bit bigger and held 2 tea lights. And you could put a Ferrero Rocher in there as well. But this one holds 2 little mini bath bombs. And I want to show you, I went to Dollar General today and they have these adorable little 6-packs. They're $1.25, so that means they're like 21 cents each. You get 6 in a bag, and this will perfectly hold 2 of them. The other thing it will hold is a pair of Lindor truffles. So you've got options here if you want to do an edible treat or sort of a little spa getaway, but you have to kind of push the wrappers sort of out of the way if you need to, and that should fit in there no problem. So there we go. We've got 2 Lindor truffles there in as well. Yay, Nancy Lee, you're on. Awesome. Brian just dropped that previous tutorial in the chat. I will link to it as well when we get this blog post published. So I'm going to show you how to cut the Designer Series paper, but then I'm going to swap it out for the cardstock. So for this project, I'm using the Sweetest Christmas, and I love this paper. The whole Sweetest Christmas suite is just adorable for the holidays. So that's a quick peek at that. And I'm starting with a 6-inch by 6-inch piece just to show you, you can get 4 of these out of a sheet of 12 by 12, but we're going to trim this down a bit. Now, if you have a directional pattern, I recommend that you cut it in portrait. So we're going to cut this to 4.5. You want to save this piece. This piece is 1.5 by 6 by 5.5. Okay, so if you had directional, again, you'd want to have your piece in portrait because this is going to be the direction that this bow tie gift box is going to be in. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can save this for maybe a card project or some other future project. This is going to end up being our belly band. So 4.5 by 5.5. Let me swap this out for the Real Red cardstock. Now for this one, I just did, this is the outside of the box, but we're gonna just do Real Red so you can see the score lines. And I've got that piece cut already, again, 4.5 by 5.5, okay? And I think I printed my measurements here. All right, so I'm gonna bring in the Simply Scored, and I love to use a Simply Scored because I feel like it gives me more accurate score lines. We are actually gonna kind of flip our paper here so that we are creating valley and mountain score lines in the right orientation. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and score at 1/2 inch. I'm gonna rotate at 180 and do 1/2 inch again. Whoops. And then I'm gonna flip and we're gonna do 1.5. I'm gonna rotate and do 1.5 again. For those of you that are getting blurry images in YouTube, at the bottom with the little cogwheel, you should be able to set the quality of the stream, so you may need to change that, all right? So let me repeat that again. We did 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches from each side, but we sort of alternated which side of the paper we did the score line. So see, we've got a mountain score line and a valley score line, because this outside part is gonna fold in a different direction like that, okay? So then, let's see, we're gonna go ahead and turn it. Now, if you had a directional pattern that was going top to bottom in portrait, you're gonna rotate it clockwise when we do this next part, okay? Now this part's gonna be a little bit tricky to see. I'm gonna eyeball this. However, if you've got a ruler, we're actually gonna score, but only between the 2nd and 3rd score lines. So let me show you the template so you have a better idea of what I mean here. So we're gonna start with these score lines here, okay? So the first 3 of them are only gonna be between the 2nd and 3rd score lines. This last one, we're gonna do the whole length because that's gonna help us with where to put our tear and tape to close this box, all right? So again, we are gonna score the first one at 1.25 inches, and I'm just kind of like gently, I'm not pressing at all, but just to kind of follow that line there and pick up the groove. Again, if you wanted to bring in a ruler, you could line that up just to the left of the 1.25 inch score line and then score, okay? The next one is gonna be at 2.5. And what'll happen is as you press with the stylus, it's gonna pick up that groove in the center, okay? The next one will be at 3.75. Am I at 3.75? I think so, there we go. Whoops, as it slides on me. So 3.75. And then the last one is 5 inches, and we're just gonna do the whole length, okay? So let me show you what that looks like. We just did those kind of a little bit strange, but that is how we get this to look like a candy bar or a bow tie, all right? So then the next score lines, keeping it here, I'm gonna score at 1 7/8, but only down to the first score line, and 4 3/8, again, only down to the first score line, like so, okay? I'm gonna flip so I don't have to remember any more measurements than just a handful. So again, 1 7/8 down to that first score line, 4 3/8. So it looks like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could come back and just score them the opposite way. Those ultimately is gonna be the way that that folds, but that's what we've got going here, okay? We're basically ignoring these sections here with score lines for now. That's where the diagonal score lines are gonna go. All right, bringing that template back, I am going to score then now at the bottom of those short score lines on the diagonal, meeting up with these short score lines. So we're kind of creating these triangle sections here, okay? I'm gonna leave this off to the side so you can still see that. Then I like to take the ball tip of the stylus. This comes from the Simply Scored, but you can also add the stylus tip to the Take Your Pick tool, okay? That's another option for you. And I'm just gonna start by taking the ball tip and putting that right at the bottom of that short score line, then bring my ruler to it. And then I'm going to score. Again, we're doing this right here. And then just kind of switch your cardstock forwards and backwards, or designer series paper, whichever you use. And then that is our first set of diagonal lines. Okay? So I'm just going to continue that at the bottom of each of these short score lines, just kind of connecting the lines. Like so. I'm going to turn it around. Move my head so I can see. This is such a fun, fun, fun gift box. Fun to look at and fun to create. All right, so we've got all those score lines done, okay? So now we're gonna do a little bit of folding and burnishing. We're gonna start with the score lines that go all the way across, right? So we've got this one at the 5.5 inch mark. We're gonna take the valley score line, turn that into a mountain fold. Then we've got these two in the center. Again, those are valleys. We're going to turn them into mountains. And then these two on the outside, remember these are mountain score lines because we scored on the other side. So you're actually going to do those the opposite direction. Now you're not going to be able to burnish on the middle short score lines or those diagonal score lines, but because we've scored, the paper is going to kind of do what we tell it to do, okay? So I'm going to put the template away, and we're going to focus on the rest of these score lines. I do like to start with the diagonal ones first, so I'm just kind of gently sort of pinching and folding those away from each other. Again, these are valley score lines, and just gently pinching just to kind of get them started in the right direction. Just let the paper kind of do the work. Your hands are really just guiding the paper. All right, so we've done those. Now, what I found was easiest is to sort of start to pinch here. See how the paper is starting to go where we want it to, but we're getting a little bit of resistance here. So as you do that, kind of pinching, and then I'm just going to gently pinch on these short score lines, and they will eventually go where you want them to go. Again, we've already sort of trained the paper here, so it's going to go where we want it to go. But see how that's already kind of doing that? And I'm just pinching, and I'm being gentle, but the paper really knows what it's supposed to do at this point. So I did find it's easier to do those diagonal ones first. So ultimately, this is what this box is going to look like, but we've got to close it first. But do you see how that really just did what it was supposed to do? Love the physics of this one. So, so cool. All right. Now I'm going to take a strip of Tear and Tape, and we're going to run that right along that score line that we did here, that 5-inch score line. I hopefully didn't say 5.5. I said 5, I think, but it's 5-inch score line. We did the score line the whole length of it so that we knew where to put the Tear and Tape. Now, if you wanted to, you could have just done the score line here, but I found that it was a little hard to figure out sort of at those opposite ends where to put the Tear and Tape. So we're going to put Tear and Tape right up to that score line, like so. Okay, so there's our score line and Tear and Tape running right up to it. I am going to come in and just do a little bit of miter cutting here on this little 1/2-inch section. Find it's easier after I've put the Tear and Tape, like so. Okay, so I'm going to pull off the backing here. And we're going to take our time putting this together, but again, it kind of knows what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to just kind of pinch. Ultimately, we need the Tear and Tape side to go down first. And what I found is to sort of line up. Now we're not going to be able to use a flat surface to sort of let our score lines do the work. So I'm just kind of pinching, and I want to line up this edge with this score line. That's sort of the most important part. Get that ready to go. I'm also lining up this score line with this score line, so lots of guides. Just kind of take your time. So I like to focus on that first section first. Then, if you pinch on the edge here that's got the tear and tape, you can then pinch on the edge that doesn't. So I've got the tear and tape is right there. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm gonna pinch, again, lining up this score line with this score line and pinch. Okay, so we got one of two ends done, and we're gonna do the same thing over here. Just take your time. You could use liquid glue for this as well. Now we've got this popping out just a little bit here. So in this case, I'm gonna kind of put my fingers in the box, just kind of popped it open, and I'm just burnishing. Got my middle finger in there and my thumb on the outside. I'm pressing from inside and outside. Same thing over here. Let's just reinforce that. But I love how this literally holds itself together. You've got a little bit of a gap here, but the treats you put in there are not going to fall out. How cute is that? Now the version I shared back in 2019, I also did some 1/8 of an inch score lines, but I didn't do that for this just to make this one even easier. But you could certainly do that for some added detail, okay? So now let's bring back our strip of paper. If I can figure out where I put it. Oh, it's right here. We're gonna actually wrap this as a belly band, okay? So this is the same width as this inside section. And again, I love the contrasting designer series paper, so you can do this with the designer series paper as well. And I wanna start, so we've got our seam running along the back here. That's where I wanna start this designer series paper, and we're gonna just manually fold for our belly band. So I've got that edge here where that seam is, and then I'm just going to pinch on each of these edges as I wrap it around this bow tie. It looks like a bow tie. Nolan picked it up and put it in his hair, or held it up to his hair and said it looked like a bow. I'm like, I see it. So just like that. Okay, so I have just manually folded those. We're gonna come in, and I like to burnish on those folds that we created, but also I like to make sure that those edges are lined up. So I'm just lining up the top edge and the bottom edge before I burnish. And just work your way around. There we go. Okay, so again, the way this wraps around, I'm gonna have that end that we started with is gonna be the end that we fold over to the top. So that seam kind of goes in the same direction. So doing so, I'm gonna take another strip of tear and tape, or liquid glue works as well. Oh, I gotta read the chat. You guys are coming up with great ideas. I love it. There we go. And pull the backing off. Again, I just put that on the edge. This is the piece we're gonna fold down last. So I got that wrapped around the center here. Like so. And isn't that so cute? I love that little detail of the designer series paper. So again, it works with either. Okay. Now, to speed this up, this is going to end up being a short live stream tonight because I don't have a card tonight, but I want to show you how we decorated this. I already did the heat embossing, but you know what? Let's put our treats in. So I've got a pair of Lindor truffles. We'll put those on the inside. Now, the cool thing about this, the way that this is designed, is that I'm going to tie the ribbon around it, but the recipient can still just get into the treat box without having to undo the ribbon, okay? So we're using that beautiful gold shimmer ribbon. It's 3/8 of an inch. We're gonna use that to tie a bow. But ahead of time, I've already done my heat embossing and punching. So this is using the Sweet Candy Canes stamp set. So that comes in the Sweetest Christmas Suite. And I stamped in Versamark the sentiment Christmas cheer and heat embossed in white onto Real Red. I just love the way that that looks on there. And then I punched it out using our double oval punch, one of my favorite punches. I love using this one. I'm going to go ahead and take some liquid glue. This is just punched out with basic white. Oh yeah, great box for putting money in as well. Oh, I love that, Darlene. That's awesome. All right, so liquid glue on the back of that. I always tend to do a darker color with the oval piece and then basic white with an ink color for the sentiment, but I kind of love the opposite where you've got it with the white sentiment on a bold color. So that's just liquid glue. And then I've just got an 1/8 of an inch hole punch here. We'll punch a little hole at the end, creating a tag, like so, okay? And now the fun part is you guys watching me live trying to figure out which end I feed through of the ribbon I feed through the tag, because I can never figure it out. It's always like, which way do we do it? All right, so I believe we are going to feed through the front of the tag. Now I've got my ribbon cut on an angle. Oops. Brian's like, can she do it? All right, so through the tag, we're gonna go over. I wanna pay attention to where my seam is. I want my seam to be on the top and back so you don't see it on the front. All right, so over, I think this is right, there we go. Over the top, but then under, and then we're gonna tie a bow. Yay, I think I did do it right. All right, so get this. I love to tie off the spool. I'm gonna grab my reverse tweezers because I gotta have those as my third hand. We're gonna kind of move that tag out of the way so I can focus on the bow here. So kind of crisscross applesauce there. Let's make sure that ribbon is in the right spot. You want it to be over the square or the rectangular parts of this treat box. Those will hold my little half knot there. Uh-oh, I can already see my tail's not long enough, I don't think. There we go, let's try that. All right, so let's get our little bow. I love this ribbon. Surprised I still have some of it left. It's so pretty. We've got our little Stream Elements bot helping us out there. Trying something new with tonight's live stream. Who knew bots could be so helpful? All right, so kind of zhuzhing my bow here. I like to put my fingers in the loops and get them in the right spot. There we go. Zhuzhing here. I want my bow to be a little cattywampus. There we go. We are doing it kind of sideways here, so let's get that kind of flipped around. This ribbon is very forgiving, so there we go. Cut off my tails. Now, I don't know if you guys checked out the clearance rack this week, but it got refreshed on Tuesday, I believe, and there was some great designer series papers on there. I think there's a few still there. I'll put it somewhere. Here we go. And then I'm going to do a finishing touch, one of the gold festive pearls. And we're just going to pop that right onto the tag. There we go. All right, so we have got our bow tie gift box or candy wrapper gift box, sort of done two ways, one with cardstock, one with designer series paper. And again, we've got Lindor truffles in this one, a pair of them. And then in the other one, we've got a pair of the Crystal Waters Bath Fizzers that I found at Dollar General for $1.25 for 6. Super, super cute. This would be a cute little craft fair idea as well. But yes, great thing to put in money in here, some cash for a grandchild maybe, other treats as well. I think you can get a Ferrero Rocher in there. But I think you can only get one because the Lindor truffles are a little bit smaller. So there we go. Now, believe it or not, I do have a completed project sheet for you. It's a one-page sheet with a visual of the template you can look at for reference, a picture of the project. Now my printer's being all goofy. It's making that look like it's purple. But my featured product, the featured supplies that I used, and the measurements, also a link to this video tutorial to watch the replay. Brian's gonna grab that link and pop it into the chat so you have it, but I will also update the description of this video after the live stream so you have a link to that before this makes it to the blog, because I know you, if you're like me, you wanna get your hands on this project ASAP. So I don't want you to have to wait, so that will be available. Brian just threw that into the chat. And we are going to get into our Q&A segment. I can't wait to see your questions. So give me a second to get that ready to go here. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to do Q tonight, but I think next week we'll start with the Q colon so that you guys are ready to go. I want to make sure that we focus on the questions as well. So hello, Joanne, Tracy, Millie. Do I know when the distressed gold paper will be available? Ooh, Kathy, good question. I don't have a way to check that right now because I don't think Brian has my login for the Stampin' Up! Website. But Kathy, if you think of it, shoot me an email at julie@thepaperpixie.com and I will look up when the estimated availability date is for that paper. Okay, so julie@thepaperpixie.com. Hello, Nalita. Do I think Stampin' Up! will ever discount the sweets as they do a 10% discount on the stamp bundle? So Loretta, the sweets actually are reflective of the bundle discount, but I see what you're asking. I don't know if they will, to be honest. They typically do the sweet numbers as just an easy way to add everything from the sweet to your shopping cart. So really the sweet collections are sort of those easy button, the one item number and you get everything as opposed to having to type in all the different products. But I don't know, maybe they would consider that. Do I have anything for a pretzel rod? I do not at the moment, Laura, but I will keep that in mind for a possible future project. I'm thinking you're probably thinking of like a chocolate covered pretzel rod, is my guess. Is fitting florets a sweet? Yes, so Patty, it's technically a collection of products. It will not be a full suite that ends up in a catalog. So it is sort of an early release / limited edition collection of products. The Fitting Florets bundle it's an early release from the mini catalog, the January to June mini catalog. So that will continue through June. But the designer series paper, the gold adhesive backed swirls, and the framed and festive stamp set, these are exclusive and while supplies last. So starting November 1st for customers, but you can add these products to a starter kit now, okay? So I think the collection, I keep calling it a suite collection, but I think the collection is around $97.50. So you can add it to that starter kit bundle and still have more to spend because you get $155 to spend for that.
So the stressed, a couple people said November 7th.
November 7th is what we're hearing, Kathy, on the availability of the distressed gold paper. Thank you guys I love you guys helping in the chat. Thank you. Darlene, does Nolan display all Lego projects or take them all apart? Ooh, you know what? He takes them apart, Darlene. It's like as soon as he finishes completing whatever he's had in his mind, he's already moving on to the next project. So typically when we get a Lego kit for a birthday or Christmas holiday, something like that, he will make it from start to finish following the instructions. And then he'll take it apart and use the pieces and parts to be creative with them. It's really fun to watch. Lily does the same thing. She'll follow the whole instructions. They'll kind of play with it. Usually hers is like a big dollhouse or Playhouse or something like that, and then she'll start to come up with her own things for that. But great question. Oh, hello, Stream Elements. Is the mat Julie working on a soft surface or hard? So I think that is, I'm blanking, Leslie, that's you, I believe. This is a neoprene desk pad. It's like an extra large mouse pad, although, let me see if I can kind of show you on one of the corners. Let me get that out of the way. It's not as thick as a mouse, but it is neoprene, so it has just a little bit of give, and I love this for stamping. I do have it linked on my favorites page. I will say that for some reason this mat has been very difficult to get on Prime for some reason. I don't know if it's because it became popular for a long time, but there's a couple of different patterns. So check the link. It is on my favorites page, I think kind of towards the bottom. It might be in my video favorites at the bottom. I just redid my favorites page over last weekend. Some of you may have noticed, but at the top I've kind of linked to all the categories to help you jump to different sections of the page. And I think this one's in my favorite video equipment because I use it strictly for my video setup. But yeah, it's got some give, great for stamping with photopolymer. I will say it's not easy to clean, so you got to be okay with a little bit of a messy thing. So let's see. You are looking and sounding pretty perky and seem to be catching up a blog post. Can we take that to mean I have ousted COVID? I sure have, Virginia. Thank you. Finally, I still feel like I'm not caught up. I feel like, I kind of lost, it felt like 4 to 6 weeks of time because I just wasn't firing on all cylinders. So I still feel like I'm catching up, but I am getting there. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, Enika, I think you're getting some help from those in the chat. Awesome. There's some French there. The belly band. Yes. Awesome. Oh, yes. So the 2019 version, I did little tiny squares. I agree with you, Sue. I do like the belly band. Real easy, especially when I was like, ooh, this is perfect because it's sort of the excess from cutting from a 6x6 piece of designer series paper. So this ribbon is not part of this suite, Joy. Hold on. Let me check. I don't think there is ribbon in the, I've got my catalog here. Give me 1 second. Oh, there is ribbon. I probably should have used that. Hold on, let me come back to this. So, the Sweetest Christmas Suite. It does come with the Garden Green and Real Red. It's a combo pack of ribbons, so that would be gorgeous with this as well. I just was looking at all my pretty ribbons and I was like, ooh, gold. It always catches my eye. But yes, there is a ribbon that comes in this suite. You'll see that this suite currently is unavailable because the sequins are out of stock at the moment, but you can get everything else in the suite right now. I think Christmas Banners is finally back. It was out for a while. And I've seen some really cute projects with the Sweet Candy Canes dies. Check out Sue Campfield's blog. Sue Stampfield is what her blog is, but she did that really cute gnome card where the feet swing, and that's the die cut that she used for that. So take a look for that as well. Good question. All right, when am I having my retired product sale? I'm glad you asked, Nancy Lee. So this week, Brian and I have been working on cleaning stamps, organizing stamps, getting everything pulled. So I am hoping in the next 1 to 2 weeks, I will have that sale. And I know you guys are going to ask. My customers and my team members always get first dibs on that. And then I will open it up to the public. So stay tuned. I will let you know when that posts. Thank you, Jackie. A nugget or two. Yes, Virginia, this will hold nuggets, but it's going to hold a lot of nuggets. Not a lot, but they're pretty tiny. So you could probably get, I would guess, like 6 to 8 Hershey's Nuggets in there, maybe. The interior dimensions, I did put that on the project sheet. It's 1 1/4 by 1 1/2 by 1 1/4 is that sort of square center section. You have a little bit of wiggle room with the tapered edges on the sides here. That's why I could get those 2 bath bombs in there. But the square section is 1 1/2, 1 1/4 by 1 1/2 by 1 1/4. Okay, so you can get quite a few Hershey's Nuggets. I always like to give you different options though, for sure. Thank you for answering the question. I have a 7-year-old son and a 9-year-old, almost 10-year-old daughter. Well, she'll be 10 in February, but I feel like it's almost. So to edit my videos, Katie, I haven't edited a video in a long time. That was the thing that kind of went to the bottom of my list, but I use iMovie. I'm completely a Mac person, so I use iMovie to edit my videos. For my live stream, I'm using Ecamm Live. Do I post my kits to the UK? Are you asking about the starter kits, Tara or Tara? I'm not sure how you pronounce your name. The starter kit, we do have demonstrators in the UK. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to recommend one for you. So Stampin' Up! Does operate in the UK, and starter kits can be purchased there as well. If you're asking about other types of kits, like Paper Pumpkin, I know Paper Pumpkin's only available in the US, so feel free to clarify that if you've got more questions. Is there a trick to cutting acetate with dies? It doesn't quite cut all the way through. You know what? That is a really interesting question, and I don't think I have ever cut window sheets with dies. I'm not surprised that it's not cutting through because the dies really are intended for paper only. And now I've cut using the paper trimmer, but I've never tried die cutting before. So I don't know if anyone else has tried it. The only other thing I would suggest is to try to run it through a couple of times. I would say with caution though, because again, it's not really intended to be cut with dies. Now the steel rule dies, the ones that have the foam pad, remember back in the day that Sizzix had those would definitely cut through window sheets, but our metal dies, I'm not sure you're gonna have success there, but you could try running it through a couple of times, flipping the cutting edge up or down to see if you can get that to work. But again, do that with caution for sure. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm not missing any questions, so please holler if I've missed any. Bonnie, how do you clean your photopolymer stamps after using StazOn ink? This is a good question. So you really shouldn't be using StazOn ink with photopolymer because that is a solvent ink and it can damage your photopolymer stamps. Now, that being said, I have used it before, but I try to be very quick at cleaning, like right after I've stamped. I still have to be comfortable with the fact that those stamps will be stained because you just can't get StazOn ink off of photopolymer. Especially the StazOn cleaner should not be used on photopolymer. It's going to break down the photopolymer. So I use the Stampin' Scrub and Stampin' Mist, and I just try to clean it as fast as I can. But as a rule, I would try not to use StazOn with photopolymer. We all good?
Got one more at the bottom.
Okay. All right. Awesome. You guys?
One more at the bottom.
One more at the very bottom. Oh, yes. Starter kits. So, Tara, yes. If you go to Stampin' Up, you can go to stampinup.com and then you can look for we'll choose the country for the UK and find a demonstrator as well. All right. So let me come back here. I think we are good with the questions. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. We were, only 45 minutes. Yay, it's a record for me. If you got a tip or trick or enjoyed tonight's video, please be sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss my next video. I will be live again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, episode 261, for a live crafting tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me. Hello to all of my replay watchers. Thanks for watching on replay. I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed week. I will see you next Wednesday. Take good care. Bye.